Welcome to the McMaster Continuing Education Instructor Panel. Thank you for joining us this evening. We hope you've been enjoying the event so far. We're very excited about today's instructor panel discussion, as our wonderful instructors will be sharing their tips and tricks for learning and career success with you. My name is Dan Piedra, and I'm Assistant Director at McMaster Continuing Education, and I'll be your host for this session. So with us today, we have, and I'd like to introduce our panelists. First of all, Guido De Cesare. Guido is an instructor of the technology and data courses. He is a Canadian data management leader with one of the larger international retail companies. I also have with us today Alison Fu. She's an instructor in the health courses. Her title is Applied Clinical Research Instructor at McMaster Continuing Education. We also have Rab Batal, who is an instructor in the business and marketing courses. He's an entrepreneur and for marketing and event management. And we also have Gail Ardo, who's an instructor in the marketing and communications courses. Her title is Course Developer and Instructor for MAD Canada and Hootsuite. So without further ado, let's start our panel discussions with our first question. Question number one is, tell us about the courses you teach at McMaster Continuing Education and how they align with your industry experience. So we'll go around the horn here. We'll start with Guido.
Okay. I teach, I'm in the data analytics program, and the courses I teach are data management and the capstone course. And the unique thing about our course is that it's very pragmatic. The things that we teach are very relevant to the business world because the instructors are all full-time. They work full-time, and they're instructors in the programs here, and they're very relevant with the technologies that are used. This data analytics, the technology is changing so quick, so we need to keep the course refreshed. So we're always updating the program, and it's not just a theoretical course on doing analytics. There's theory, but there's a lot of pragmatic, a lot of hands-on experience with the assignments and the tools that we're using. You may have heard the terms data ethics, security, metadata management. We touch all those topics, we address all those topics as part of the program, and we keep it relevant. Like from when the course started to where we are now, we've changed the content a couple of times just to keep it more relevant what's happening in the industry. Is that good enough?
I'll come back to you. We can add some more. Okay. That's great. Thank you, Guido. Alison, same question.
Okay. So I'm an instructor for the Applied Clinical Research Program. I teach the last two courses of the program, Clinical Trial Management, ACR 104, and the Clinical Research Capstone Project, ACR 105. Mr. Guido also mentioned that he teaches a capstone project as well. So in case there's anyone that isn't clear what that means, it's sort of like a project that mimics real world work experience. So that you can get experience that way without a real internship placement. So the ACR program is tailored towards teaching people about how to work in clinical trials specifically. So there's a lot of different roles in clinical trials. This program is tailored more towards clinical research coordinators, which are research coordinators that tend to work in Canadian hospitals that conduct clinical trials. So ACR 105 is the most applicable to real world experience because it is a capstone project. So you'll be taking a real study with a real protocol, and you'll be creating study documents and acting out processes like you would in a real world if that was actually your study.
Great, thank you. Gail.
Hi, so I teach 3 courses, DMK 101, which is an introductory digital marketing course, which gives a really nice broad look at all the different things that we do in digital marketing, from web design to mobile marketing, social media, content creation, a little bit of analytics there too, different kind of data analytics as it pertains to, people coming to your website, people opening your emails, and that type of thing. And I think it's a wonderful course because it really gives you a nice broad overview, which when you're working in a smaller shop, sometimes you're the only one that does digital marketing and you really need to know all of those things. And I've worked at companies that, a little bit bigger organizations where there's literally a team of people that only do emails. So the intro course really gives you that nice broad look at everything, and you really get to mock up some emails. You get to create a content calendar for social media, and editorial calendar, which is all very valuable because you can then use those materials to show potential employers that you've done this before. And I think that's a really wonderful thing. And I'm so proud to say that I helped develop the courses for PUB 111 and PUB 113. And in it, I made sure that there was some real hands-on projects that people did, not just theory. There is a lot of theory because it's really important to understand where it's all coming from and how it's evolved, even though it's only been over the last 10 years or so. It changes quickly, as we all know. And, throughout those courses, you're going to be able to learn how to create an influencer brief, how to make a paid media campaign plan, as well as content calendars and editorial calendars. And I think that, also being able to do the presentations to your C-suite and your executives who don't speak your language. They're not the digital marketing experts. You are. And, you can't really go to them with a big, thick Word document. They want to see a PowerPoint presentation and they want that high level information. You have to back it up. But I make sure that the projects that we do are things that you will do when you actually get a job in digital and in social. So really proud of those courses, and really wish that some of the people I've hired had taken them.
Okay, thanks, Gail. Wonderful. Rad?
Thanks, Dan. So I teach the MKT 819 Introduction to Marketing, and I also teach the Business 825 Business Foundations. Marketing is everywhere. It's all around us. If you've just been following the Tim Hortons and Justin Bieber collaboration, hugely successful. I can't tell you the number of people who've been posting on social media about getting the Timbits.
Have you tried them?
Sorry?
Have you tried them yet?
I actually like them.
I know it.
I liked it.
But the real question is, did you try them because you saw Justin Bieber promoting them?
You know what? It worked. It brought me in. It 100% brought me in. I'm not an avid Timbit eater otherwise, but it definitely worked. So, we live in a world where brands are constantly engaging with us. Politicians are brands, athletes and entertainers and celebrities are brands. Where we shop, where we choose to live is about brand and the city and what it brings to you and how that is a part of your overall sense of being. So marketing is a great subject because I really think it kind of is in all different parts of our aspects of our world, how we purchase, how we shop, how we are as consumers. So introduction to marketing is all about building brands, engagement, pricing, packaging, the marketing mix, building a marketing plan. And we see that come to life, and students work on real life related topics. And I constantly engage students with the news. So you can open a newspaper every single day and you will find something that's relevant, current, and engaging. And in Business Foundations, we cover everything from literally setting up a business, basic business information from supply and demand, market equilibrium, all the way to HR, management, operations, marketing, accounting, finance, money, even finance, stocks. So it's a little bit of a dipping into every little part of business. And that's great, just kind of know as a basic foundation, as an introductory course into business. And if you've ever ran a business, or if you do banking and you're a consumer and you leave your house at any point, you need to know some of that information. We see the world of supply chain, how that's impacted pricing. We see inflation, stock market, took a big dive today when the news came out, the first case in California of the new variant. All of this ties into markets. It ties in with what we pay for goods. It ties in with the price of gasoline. So really, business is all around us. And I love teaching the subjects that I teach. And I think students are also very engaged with the information because they see it to be current.
Great. Thank you. Thanks to all of you. Some good points there made that a lot of our courses more and more are being designed and have been designed in the last few years around the concept of making them more applied. So a few of you mentioned that a lot of our courses still have theory. Obviously, theory is a part of learning a lot of different things, particularly in specific careers. But our courses are meant to provide more of that real world application, which I think appeals to a lot of our students. So I'm going to jump to the next question then, and maybe we'll go in reverse order this time. So the question is, what would you tell someone thinking about attending McMaster continuing education? What advice would you give them to make the most of their learning experience? So this doesn't necessarily have to be program specific, but in general, what are some things, some tips that you would give them to make the most of their learning experience? So we'll start with Rav.
Sure, thanks, Dan. A point that I touched on is that the instructors are providing you real life engagement. They're giving you the textbook, they're giving you the theory, but taking a course at McMaster Continuing Education is bringing a lot of different aspects. You have people who are from the industry who can give you real world insight. So I think you get a lot of hands-on application information. You engage in assignments and evaluations that are not simply, ticking off boxes on a multiple choice question type of quiz, but you have lots of different variations of how you're assessed and evaluated. So I think taking courses at McMaster, you're to be successful in McMaster, be ready to learn, be willing to take risks and get things wrong along the way, because that's part of the learning process. And I think be open to all the, the great information that's going to come your way, because the world of business, what I can speak to, is constantly changing. And by taking these continuing education classes, you get real value in terms of kind of what is current. And it's important to stay current in the world of business, because, if you think about the things that we engage in, whether it's TikTok or Uber or Tesla, and 10 years ago, most people wouldn't even be able to, they wouldn't know any of those names 10 years ago. And yet they pretty much dominate the marketplace in each of their respective industries. So it's important to stay up to date and to build that skill set. So if you're taking a class at McMaster, be prepared to learn from great instructors, great educators, and be willing to take chances.
Great, thanks, Rav. Over to Gail. Same question.
In order for students, I feel to get the most out of the courses, I often ask them, what are you doing professionally and what would you like to do professionally? And I really love it when we have sometimes some entrepreneurs who have small businesses and they really use the assignments to apply it to their own business. So they actually come out of these courses with a plan and with feedback from, professionals, as well as from me, but also from their classmates and their colleagues who, through our discussions and through sharing what we do, they really get some feedback that they can apply before they invest in, actually applying these, projects and findings to their actual businesses, which I think is really great. It's so nice to read these assignments and see that someone, is already doing this as a business and they want to make sure that they're doing the digital marketing portion of their business well. And again, if they're not yet doing a business, what is it that they would like to do? And what kind of job would they really, see themselves in or would be a dream job for them? And try to focus on that when doing those assignments, when you're choosing your clients that you create certain content for, etc. And that way it's really tangible and it's really meaningful. It's not just some made up thing that, they're not necessarily going to use afterwards. And it's really, it really gets so excited when I can see that, people are actually applying what they've learned and using it in the real world.
Okay. I'm going to take a step back and give some slightly more generalized advice. So the first advice I have is to make the most of any learning experience. The secret that I've discovered to success or happiness, whatever you want to call it, is if you make those decisions, whether it's education or work, based on 4 criteria. And the first one is whether you genuinely have some interest in it. And the second one is whether you think you'd be at least somewhat good at it. And the third one is if it's the right amount of challenge. So it's not so difficult that you'll set yourself up to fail, but it's challenging enough that you'll develop a new skill or improve a weakness. And the fourth one is that learning experience or the job that you think that learning experience might help you get has meaning. And so I define meaningful as bettering the lives of others, but it has to be a very personal type of meaningful for you. So someone might find it very meaningful to create an app that can make people's lives more efficient, or that can give people joy and pleasure from entertainment. Some people might find meaning in creating beautiful artwork or pieces of furniture that can liven up someone's home or evoke emotion, right? Or set a tone or mood in a space. For me, I chose clinical trials because I love that the outcome of my work can contribute to the medical landscape across Canada. I do not like the work, but the work is extremely meaningful to me. And so I think if you choose something that meets all 4 of those criteria, then the learning experience will be rich and valuable to you. And any doors that it opens for you will be in line with your values and your interests. And so I don't think you can go wrong. Now I'm going to give some advice that's very specific to the Applied Clinical Research Program. I have given countless informational interviews about what it's like to work in clinical research. And 99% of the time, it's not at all what they thought. So my advice to you is to do some informational interviews, talk to people that work, ask them what they do day in, day out. What do they like? What do they not like? What's the majority of their time spent on? What are the types of problems they experience? And then if you think that that's the right job for you, with the right challenge and meaningful and interesting that you think you'd be good at, or at least somewhat good at, then I think master continuing education is a great option.
Great. Thank you, Allison. Guido?
Okay, everybody touched on some of the points that I was going to make, but basically this is a fast-changing environment. Things are moving very quickly. Specifically, I'll talk about the data area. You can't pick up a magazine or anything in the news. It's all about the data and how data is very important. But the important thing about it is, I'll talk about the marketing thing also, is presenting the information. There's a lot of data out there, but how you present it to people, that's the important thing. Okay, and also part of the experience here, at least in the programs that we teach, there's a lot of group work, and it's all a lot of practical group work with some theory, which you're getting into many, like we cover many topics. We've done work for the Toronto Police Services, all the way to Dofasco, all the way to the Raptors, and some of the assignments that we've had within a course in the Capstone Initiative. But it's all about taking a look at the data that they deal with and presenting it in a format that it could be easily understood by a layman. Okay, you don't want to, a lot of visualization work, but a lot of it is group work. Like the students learn by working with each other. We don't do a lot of individual work in some of the things that I teach. It's all group work because they learn off each other. You interact with other people, and you build up your interaction skills and your social skills also, as well as picking up an interesting topic or an interesting business area. And basically, the environment's changing. The business environment is changing, and you have to keep yourself updated. And the programs that we teach here are very pragmatic and very relevant to what's needed in the business world.
Great.
I can go on forever on the data piece, which I have a tendency to do. That's why I'm really monitoring myself here.
Okay. Thank you, Guido. No, great comments from everybody. And I would certainly echo your comments there. And I think a few of you spoke about group work. It's interesting because years ago, we had a lot of traditional courses with exams, right? Comprehensive final exams, and people didn't like those and they complained a lot. And as an adult learner, you don't. So we made a change in around 2015, 2016 to start moving our courses to become more project-based and applicable to what really happens in the real world. And so I'm glad you all mentioned that. And yeah, in defense of group work, I know that not everybody likes group work. The other thing that I would say is that not only do students learn from themselves or from each other, but that group work mimics what real life is about. Rarely are you in a job where you will be completely on your own and you'll have to work completely on your own all the time. So, I think that it also helps people develop certain skills working with each other. If you had a person come to you who's trying to break into that industry, into that career, what tip, maybe one specific tip, I know there's lots of different tips, but maybe one tip that you would share with them in terms of, how to best break into that industry, something that they could do. So we'll go back in reverse now. So Guido, I'm limiting it to one, but one tip.
Be honest with yourself and make sure you're enjoying what you're doing. Okay, the worst thing you want to do is get involved in an environment that you don't enjoy, because you're not going to be successful at it. And I've had a lot of discussions with students on this. To tell you the truth, some of my students still keep in touch with me now after they're out working for a couple of years. But just be true to yourself and get into it. Like, this area is so big. Get into an industry or a business that you really enjoy working in.
Great, thank you, Allison.
Yeah, my tip is network. Networking will allow you to learn about the roles. Networking will allow you to learn about different types of job titles, companies, openings, volunteering positions, especially in clinical research. A lot of it in academia is not standardized and not posted publicly. So network, network, network.
Thank you. Gail.
Well, I would tell people to be open-minded and try everything. You may dream of having a strategy job in digital marketing, but that generally goes to someone a little bit more senior. And being able to say that you've worked on email marketing campaigns, social media, web design, mobile marketing, all of the things. The data analytics is huge too. Try it all, and then you just kind of find out what you really like and what you're really good at. And I think that's most important. And learn the back end of social media platforms because there's a whole other world of that I think a lot of people use it personally and think that they can do it. And then when you get into buying ads and data analytics and insights and actionable insights, I think that a lot of people don't realize that there's a whole back end to these platforms that most people don't use. And it's very important to know.
Great. Thank you, Gail. Rav.
I just want to touch on the idea that really, and I know it's touched on, you need to love what you're doing because it shouldn't feel like work, even though quote unquote it may be work. If you have a genuine passion for what it is that you're working on, then you'll be diving deep into it in a way that won't, it'll still be challenging, but it's something innately that you connect with and it's something that you really enjoy. And the other thing I think that's really important is in terms of career movement, I know networking is definitely a very valuable thing. I kind of heard a saying once that if you're looking to open like other doors, is fill the room that you're in. If you fill the room that you're in, those doors are going to come flying open because someone's going to come and pull you out of that room because they're looking for you. So, do what you have to do. Sometimes, especially in the early years, it might be, doing duties or jobs that may not be ideal. And Gail kind of mentioned, you may not get that strategy role that you've hoped for out the gate, but you put in that time, that effort, your resilience, whether it's education, experience, building on all those things. And it takes time, but the goal is hopefully it all pays off. You fill up that room, that door is going to come flying open.
Great. Thank you, Rev. Well, I want to thank our panelists for sharing their experience and their advice for everyone this evening. We enjoyed learning about you today and appreciate you taking the time to share your excellent insights. We would also like to thank everyone for joining our event this evening. We hope it provided helpful information to make your learning journey a success. This concludes our event. Thank you very much, everyone, for joining us, and we hope to see you soon in one of our classes and future events. So long.